When those around you eat crap food after weight loss surgery, it can make it harder to stay on the path to right-size living. In this episode, we'll explore why what those in your social circle are eating is a really big deal, and 6 tactics you can implement that will help you manage this challenge. When I was a kid, I was always on a diet. My sister, on the other hand, was super skinny. My mom did a pretty good job at keeping the majority of food in the house nutritionally smart, yet there were some high sugar, high fat snacks for my sister that were kept out of sight in a special drawer. I was constantly raiding my sister's snack drawer when no one was watching. In fact, I think I ate way more of her snacks than she did. It's a big deal when those around you, whether at home, at work, or in social situations, are eating tempting foods that you're trying to avoid. What they eat and their views around food can influence you. There was a huge study that 12,000 people participated in over a 30-year period that discovered you're more likely to become obese if the people you spend time with are obese. If a friend becomes obese, you're 57% more likely to become obese. If an adult sibling becomes obese, you're 40% more likely to become obese. If your spouse becomes obese, you're 37% more likely to become obese. I totally believe that because I know after my husband and I got married, we gained a lot of weight together. Fortunately, once one of us got back on track, so did the other. It's probably no surprise that your eating behaviors are influenced by the people around you and vice versa. I mean, you're at home and the person you live with bakes cupcakes, you're probably gonna want one too, right? If you're out to lunch with someone who orders a clean salad with grilled chicken, you're more likely to choose something on the healthier side too. But this type of social impact on weight is about more than what others are eating in your environment. It's also because you're more likely to subconsciously share ideas about weight, fitness, and lifestyle in general. Before I get into the 6 tactics to help you stay on track if those around you are eating crap food, it's important to understand you can only control you. Weight loss surgery marked a serious change for you. That was the moment that you drew a line in the sand and told that beast called obesity that you two are breaking up for good. You should be commended for deciding to make positive changes. Yet, it can be tough to stick to those positive changes you've made when people you spend time with are eating sweets, lighter foods, fried foods, and all the other stuff you're trying to avoid. It's not realistic or fair for you to expect your significant other, your family, or your friends to make the same positive changes you're making or follow the new lifestyle you've chosen for yourself. Each individual has to decide what's right for them. And a lot of times, the people you care about are just not in that place right now. They might never get there. As the saying goes, you do you and let them do them. It's never a good idea to nag the people you care about or try to mastermind a plan to get them to come over from what you might view as the dark side. That typically results in them clinging to what they know or pushing back that much harder. Nobody likes to be told what to do. That said, there are still plenty of tactics, including the 6 I'm about to share with you, that will help you manage these types of situations so that those around you won't drag you down with them. 1, have a conversation. Sometimes it can feel like a loved one is sabotaging you by bringing foods you're trying to avoid into the home and eating them in front of you. It's important to understand that's usually not the case. It might be because they've always shown love through food, and that can be a really hard habit to break. Others simply have not walked a mile in your shoes and really don't understand how what they're doing impacts you. And there's yet another group who have their own love affair with food and are not ready to make a change. No matter what category the people in your social circle fall into, it's a good idea to have a conversation to share the changes you've decided to make to your eating habits and why they're important to you. And then ask them if they'd be willing to do some things to help you out. That phrasing, would you be willing to, is pretty effective in most cases. You're not demanding. You're asking in a way that's hard to refuse. You might ask, Would you be willing to keep the foods that tempt me in a separate cabinet or in a separate drawer in the refrigerator so they're not visible to me? Now, if you're like I was as a kid and just knowing they're there could be a temptation, you can ask them to hide them from you or even put them in a locked container if necessary. Here's another. Would you be willing to not buy for me any foods I'm trying to avoid, even if it's for a special occasion? Would you be willing to give me a 10-minute warning when you're going to eat something that you know might be tempting to me, so I have the option to mentally prepare, to leave the room while you do so, or prepare my own snack to enjoy alongside you? Would you be willing to plan meals together so we can come up with ideas that both of us will enjoy? These simple conversations can go a long way. 2, lead by example. Hey, I get that you want the best for the people you care about. It can be really hard to watch them eat ice cream and cookies when you see how their food choices are negatively impacting their health. Your best bet of seeing them make a change is to keep your opinion to yourself and simply lead by example. Just keep doing what you're doing. When the people you care about see you looking good and feeling good, it's natural for them to want to experience that too. But they have to do it on their terms and in their timing. It's got to be their idea, their goal. Now, you can subtly influence under the radar. The next time you go out to eat with friends or family, suggest a restaurant with healthy options. Hey, I'd love to try this new restaurant. Would you be open to trying it too? Or if you're going on a road trip, offer to pack the lunches. That's a great way to avoid fast food restaurants that don't have a whole lot of selections that align with your goals. About a year after I lost my 50 pounds of post-bariatric surgery regain, my husband started making changes that resulted in him trimming down too. I think at first he thought what I was doing would be really short-lived, but when he realized I was making real, lasting changes to my habits, he started to take notice. He was inspired to make some changes too. So just keep doing what you're doing. 3, try creative cooking. One thing I've learned when my family gets together for the holidays is that creative cooking can satisfy diverse nutritional needs. In my family, we've got some who are gluten sensitive, some who are vegan, others that have to watch salt due to high blood pressure, others who have to watch the sugar and starches because of type 2 diabetes. In situations like these, creativity is key. Here are some ideas to make the menu work for everyone in your house. Sometimes there are ingredients that can be optional add-ons for later. For instance, if a meal incorporates butter, salt, sauces, or glazes, keep it on the side so everyone can add to taste. You can try different cooking methods like baking instead of frying, or crock pots or Instapots, or play around with air fryers, which can reduce fat over traditional frying. You can consider substitutions. You can try ground turkey or ground bison instead of ground beef. Use plain Greek yogurt instead of sour cream or mayo. There's tons of pasta substitutes. Zoodles, which are basically zucchini shaped as noodles. There's spaghetti squash, or there's dried pastas made entirely of black beans or edamame. You can use ground flax seeds instead of breadcrumbs. Use big lettuce leaves in place of taco shells or tortillas. Sunflower seeds or toasted almond slivers instead of croutons on a salad. Vanilla extract or cinnamon instead of sugar. Avocado puree instead of mayo. Pureed frozen bananas instead of ice cream. How about nutritional yeast instead of cheese? Or sliced tomatoes instead of tomato sauce? Homemade baked kale chips instead of potato chips. If there's a dish being served that's missing protein, you can always add a scoop of protein powder. Personally, I like plain egg white powder as it doesn't impact the flavor in my opinion. For instance, on the rare occasion I need an oatmeal fix, I add a scoop of egg white protein powder to it. Sprinkle some cinnamon and put a couple crushed pecans on top. That transforms it into something that will pack a lot more satisfaction. Sometimes mixing it up with brand new recipes can be a great experience for everyone's palate. Explore recipe sites for new ideas or more nutritionally dense versions of recipes that are your family favorites. For having prepared meals and snacks can save the day. Sometimes having an easy go-to already prepared can mean the difference between staying on track versus sneaking a nibble of whatever your loved one is snacking on. Make it part of your weekly schedule to do some food prep and also have some grab-and-go options available. Some helpful suggestions include pre-cut veggies. You can have optional dips ready too, like hummus, natural almond butter, preferably the kind with no added sugar, Greek yogurt, guacamole, pico de gallo, and salsa. I often have pre-measured bags of nuts handy. If you do indulge in nuts, pre-measured is really important for some of us because this is a food that can be easy to overeat. Try putting a handful of grapes or a few banana slices in the freezer. Just a couple will usually satisfy a sweet tooth. String cheese can be a good go-to. There are bariatric sites like Delicious Proteins, Bariatric Eating, and Berry Life that have meals and snacks containing high protein. A lot of them are processed, but they can offer a more nutritionally dense alternative than traditional snacks. For meals, you can make stuff in bulk. Have some now and put some in the freezer that can be quickly heated up later. The crock pot provides a great option to make in bulk a lot of nutritionally dense meals. A lot of times I make sure to have an emergency backup in my purse or tote. That way, if I'm in a tempting situation or out longer than I expected, I have options that will support my lifestyle. If you've got other suggestions that work for you, please share them with the rest of us below in the comments. 5, watch your words. Words have a powerful impact on your interactions with others, especially on two fronts. The first way to watch your words is how you address your nutritional goals in your own mind, as well as when and if it ever comes up in conversation. Think approach instead of avoid. In other words, think about how you commit to approach the many elements of your right-sized lifestyle instead of thinking what elements you will avoid. This may seem like a subtle nuance, but it can make a big difference. That's because there's one thing most of us in the bariatric world have in common, and that's that we do not like to feel restricted or deprived. The second you tell us we should avoid something or that we can't have it, that's what we want, right? I don't know about you, but for me, the food restrictions that entered my life with my first doctor-directed diet at the tender age of 8 was a slippery slope that led to negative habits like hoarding food and binging. So instead of saying negatives like, I'm going to stop eating processed sugar, or I'm going to avoid soda, or I'm not allowed fried foods, instead phrase it in terms of how you're going to approach your food choices, such as, I'm going to try a new chicken and veggie recipe this week, or I'm going to eat 2 colors of produce today, or I'm going to start my day off with 12 ounces of water at least 30 minutes before I eat. Always position in the positive, not just for your mindset, but for those around you. The second element of watching your words is that nobody enjoys being around others who position themselves as morally, or in this case, nutritionally superior. So avoid being the person who creates a lot of drama around your food. Do you know what I'm talking about? The person who says stuff like, oh, I never eat crap like that, or woo-wee, I'll pass on that because it's loaded with fat and sugar. Or the rant about how you are just so darn full you couldn't eat another bite, especially when your portions are typically going to be smaller than those around you thanks to your surgically altered tummy. When you say stuff like that, it often makes others you're eating with feel bad about themselves or their choices. I'm willing to bet you know what it feels like to be on the other side of that from your pre-surgery days, right? Don't be that person. 6, stay mentally strong. Sticking to the types of food choices that are important to you requires you to stay mentally strong. One of the best ways to do this is to stay in the conversation with people who are like-minded. Once the newness and excitement of surgery wears off, it's way too easy to allow old habits to creep back into your life. Maintain your focus and stay the course by connecting with support groups. Hopefully your bariatric surgeon connected you to a support group, whether live or in a virtual setting. It's important to have an outlet to give and receive support with people who understand what you're going through. I'm 18 years out from surgery and I attend at least a few support groups a month. If you don't have one, you might want to check out my Bite-Size Changes community. That has 2 Zoom meetings to choose from each week. I'll put the link below if that appeals to you. Also, stay connected to your bariatric surgeon and his or her team. They can help you keep focused and on track. They can monitor your health with regular check-ins and your blood work. They'll be able to help you if you do fall off track. Also important is your professional circle. Having professionals you can turn to for advice, tools, and tactics is really important. That can include trainers, psychologists, nutritionists, coaches, etc. Social media can be another great place to stay mentally strong. Find a social media group that you feel comfortable with. Find a small one for a more intimate connection, or a larger one if you like to stay more in the background. You might need to check out a few of them to find one that's a good fit. I would caution you to never take medical advice from people on social media. I've seen some crazy stuff, but sharing experiences can be very helpful. One option you can explore is my Facebook group, Back on Track After Bariatric Surgery. It's a safe environment designed to educate and support. I'll put that link below too. Make an effort to create close friendships with one or two people who've had weight loss surgery. I call these bariatric buddies. These are the people you can turn to in good times and bad. Hey, I get that it can really suck when you're surrounded by people you care about who continue to eat crap food. Keep doing what you're doing and try incorporating the 6 tactics. Having honest conversations, leading by example, trying creative cooking, having snacks and meals ready to go, watching your words, and staying mentally strong. The more committed you are to sticking to your new lifestyle, the more ingrained it becomes. You get stronger and stronger in the face of temptation, and the behaviors of others get under your skin less and less. And just think, when you keep doing what you're doing, you could very possibly inspire change in those around you. How awesome is that? Until next time, live with purpose, live with courage, and live with delight.